The Silent Guardian. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of the UES Hyperion, her reflection ghosting against the reinforced transplas as she watched the swirling purple-black energies of the void sector. After 6 months of solitary patrol, she'd grown accustomed to the way the quantum storms painted abstract masterpieces across the ship's sensors, but she never tired of watching them with her own eyes. Commander, the ship's eye interface, HFY, manifested as a subtle blue glow in her peripheral vision. We're detecting unusual energy signatures from Grid Sector 7 Alpha. Elena straightened, her short frame tensing, as she absorbed the information through her neural link. The Hyperion was humanity's most advanced warship, a triumph of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien technology. But more importantly, it was the only ship ever successfully tested in the void sector's unique conditions. That's why they were here, alone, guarding a region of space that had claimed countless alien vessels over the millennia. "Show me the readings," Elena commanded, her dark eyes scanning the holographic display that materialized before her. The usual quantum fluctuations had taken on a new pattern, something she'd never seen in all her years of training. Analysis. The energy signature appears to be artificial in origin. Araya responded, her voice calm and measured. It bears similarities to ancient beacon technology discovered in the Arcturus ruins, but far more sophisticated. The pattern suggests it's responding to our presence. Elena's mind raced through the implications. The void sector had been declared off-limits by the Galactic Council centuries ago, after dozens of advanced civilizations had lost ships trying to explore its mysteries. When humanity joined the galactic community just 50 years ago, they'd been shocked to discover that their quantum shielding technology, developed to protect their first faster-than-light ships, made them uniquely capable of surviving the sector's bizarre physics. "Are we receiving any data from the signature?" Elena asked, already moving toward the command chair. The bridge crew, minimal as it was, snapped to attention. "Affirmative," Araya confirmed. "The signal appears to be a carrier wave, but the encryption is unlike anything in our databases. Attempting to decode now." The Hyperion's quantum cores hummed to life, their crystalline matrices processing the alien data. Elena felt the ship's systems through her neural link, the familiar sensation of raw computational power flowing through augmented synapses. "Commander," Lieutenant Sarah Chen called from her tactical station. "Long-range sensors are picking up movement at the sector's edge. Multiple contacts, approaching at FTL speeds." Elena's jaw tightened. In 6 months, they hadn't seen a single ship approach the sector. Now, within minutes of detecting this signal, they had company. "Configuration. Unknown designs," Chen reported, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "But their energy signatures match 3 different known hostile species. Caraxian, Vorkath, and, sir, one of them appears to be Precursor." A chill ran down Elena's spine. The Precursors were supposed to be extinct, their civilization having vanished long before humanity reached for the stars. Yet here was their energy signature, clear as day on their sensors. "Signal decryption at 15%, Araya announced. "Preliminary analysis suggests this is some form of automated defense system. Commander, it appears to be keyed specifically to human brainwave patterns." Elena stood, her movements deliberate as she surveyed her small but efficient bridge crew. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice steady. "Power up quantum shields but keep weapons in standby. Let's not start a war unless we have to." The Hyperion systems responded instantly, layers of quantum shielding spreading across its sleek hull like ripples in a pond. The ship's revolutionary design, incorporating both human innovation and salvaged alien tech, had earned it the nickname Hybrid Hope during its construction. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL," Chen reported. 17 vessels total. They're forming an encirclement pattern. "Signal decryption at 30%, Araya added. "Commander, I'm detecting a message embedded in the carrier wave. It's a warning. Something about a key and a lock, but the translation is still incomplete. Elena felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Whatever was happening, whatever had drawn these ships here, she knew humanity's role as guardian of the void sector was about to be tested. The Hyperion might be the most advanced ship Earth had ever built, but they were severely outnumbered. "Open a channel," she commanded. "All frequencies, full spectrum broadcast. Channel open." Elena squared her shoulders, her voice clear and unwavering. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth ship Hyperion. You have entered restricted space as designated by Galactic Council Decree 47 Beta. State your intentions or withdraw immediately." The response came in the form of weapons fire, a barrage of energy beams that splashed against their quantum shields like rain on a window. The hostile ships moved with practiced coordination, their formation designed to trap the Hyperion against the sector's turbulent boundary. "Shields holding at 92%, Chen reported. "Their weapons are having minimal effect against our quantum barriers." Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Hyperion had been built for exactly this scenario. Its defensive systems specifically designed to withstand attacks from multiple vectors. But she knew they couldn't just sit there and take fire forever. "ARIA, prioritize that signal decryption. Something tells me we're going to need to understand what's being protected here." She paused, watching as another volley of enemy fire illuminated their shields, "and plot me a course through their formation. If they want to see what this ship can do, let's give them a demonstration." The Hyperion's quantum cores pulsed with power as it prepared to show why humanity had been chosen to guard this mysterious sector. The real question was, would they survive long enough to unlock its secrets? Dark horizon. The Hyperion danced through space like a leaf in a hurricane, its quantum drives allowing it to move in ways that defied conventional physics. Elena watched through her neural link as Lieutenant Chen's tactical plot showed their pursuers struggling to maintain their formation against the ship's unconventional maneuvers. "Signal decryption at 45%. Araya reported, her holographic form flickering as she divided processing power between combat systems and the mysterious beacon. "Commander, I'm detecting a pattern in the data. It appears to be some form of activation sequence." The ship shuddered as a Caraxian cruiser managed to score a direct hit with its main weapon. "Shields at 87%. Chen called out, her fingers flying over her console. "The Vorkath battle group is attempting to cut off our retreat vector." Elena's mind raced through tactical options, the neural link feeding her real-time data about ship systems and enemy positions. The precursor vessel hadn't fired yet, hanging back and observing. That worried her more than the active hostiles. "RIA, what happens when the activation sequence completes?" Elena asked, even as she used her neural link to plot a new escape trajectory. "Unknown, but energy readings from within the void sector are increasing exponentially. Whatever dormant systems we triggered, they're waking up." As if to confirm ARIA's assessment, massive energy signatures began blooming throughout the sector. Ancient structures, previously invisible to their sensors, were powering up. Some were as large as small moons, their surfaces covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with internal light. "New contacts." Chen's voice carried an edge of disbelief. Multiple automated defense platforms decloaking throughout the sector. Their designs, they're like nothing in our database. Through the observation window, Elena watched as massive structures materialized from the quantum storms. They were beautiful in their alienness, all curved lines and impossible angles that seemed to bend reality around them. But more importantly, they were activating weapons systems that made their attackers' technology look primitive by comparison. "The Caraxian fleet is withdrawing," Chen reported, relief evident in her voice. "The Vorkath are." "Wait." Her expression changed to one of horror. "They're not retreating. They're being pulled apart." Elena watched in stunned silence as the ancient defense platforms began systematically dismantling the hostile ships. It wasn't weapons fire in any traditional sense. Instead, the very fabric of space seemed to unravel around the targeted vessels, pulling them apart at the quantum level. Get us clear of those platforms, Elena ordered. Full power to quantum shields. But the defense platforms ignored the Hyperion completely, continuing their methodical destruction of the attacking fleet. Only the precursor vessel remained untouched, maintaining its position at the edge of the sector. Signal decryption at 60%, Araya announced. Commander, I'm detecting a quantum entanglement signature. The defense platforms, they're receiving commands from somewhere inside the sector. Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the implications. They're not autonomous. Someone's controlling them. Correct, Araya confirmed. And based on the signal patterns, they're waiting for instructions from us. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed this information. Humanity hadn't just been chosen to guard this sector, they'd been given control of its defenses. But why? What made humans special enough to be trusted with this kind of power? Commander, Chen's voice was quiet but urgent. The precursor ship is transmitting. It's requesting permission to approach. Elena straightened in her command chair, feeling the weight of command more heavily than ever before. Araya, what's the status of the original signal decryption? 75% complete. Commander, I'm detecting similarities between the precursor transmission and the beacon's carrier wave. They appear to be using the same base language. The pieces began falling into place in Elena's mind. The precursors hadn't gone extinct. They'd withdrawn, leaving behind these defenses until someone worthy could take up their mantle. But that still didn't explain why humanity had been chosen. Open a channel to the precursor vessel, Elena commanded. Let's find out what we're really dealing with. Channel open, Araya confirmed. Elena took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. This is Commander Elena Reyes of the UES Hyperion. Your companions chose violence and paid the price. Are you here for the same purpose? The response came not in words, but in pure data, flooding their systems with information that even Araya struggled to process. Images, mathematical concepts, and fragments of history flashed through Elena's neural link faster than she could comprehend. Multiple new energy signatures detecting throughout the sector, Chen reported, her voice strained. The defense platforms are changing configuration. Through the observation window, Elena watched as the ancient structures began to move, their impossible geometries shifting and flowing like liquid metal. They were forming something, a pattern that stretched across the entire sector. Signal decryption complete, Araya announced suddenly. Commander, it's not just a warning or an activation sequence. It's an inheritance. The precursor ship began to move, not toward them, but toward one of the largest defense platforms. As it approached, its hull seemed to ripple and change, revealing patterns similar to those they'd observed on the ancient structures. They're not precursors, Elena realized aloud. They're caretakers. They've been waiting for someone to pass their test. She turned to her crew, her expression grave. And we just did. The Hyperion's sensors lit up with new data as the sector's full capabilities were finally revealed to them. What they'd thought was just a dangerous region of space was actually the most sophisticated defense system ever created. And now, for better or worse, it answered to humanity. Commander, Araya's voice carried an unusual note of awe. You need to see this. The sector, it's not just a boundary or a barrier. It's a door. As Elena processed this revelation, she knew that humanity's role in the galaxy had just changed forever. The only question was, what lay behind that door? And were they ready to find out? The understanding. The caretaker vessel hung in space before them, its crystalline surface now fully transformed to match the ancient architecture surrounding them. Through her neural link, Elena felt the Hyperion's systems interfacing with the sector's defense grid, streams of data flooding through pathways she hadn't known existed in her augmented mind. Araya, are you processing this? Elena asked, her voice hushed as the scale of what they were accessing became clear. Affirmative, Commander. The data transfer is extensive, The caretakers are sharing their historical archives. It appears they've been waiting for this moment for approximately 2.7 million years. The bridge crew watched in amazement as holographic displays materialized around them, showing the history of a civilization so advanced it made their most sophisticated technology look primitive. The precursors hadn't just been another spacefaring race. They had been the architects of order in the galaxy. They were shepherds, Elena realized, watching the story unfold through the data stream. They guided younger species, helped them avoid catastrophic mistakes. But something changed. Through her neural link, Elena saw fragments of an ancient war, not fought with ships and weapons, but with the fundamental forces of reality itself. The precursors had faced an enemy that didn't just threaten life, but existence itself. "Commander," Lieutenant Chen called out, her voice tense. "The caretaker vessel is transmitting a new signal. It's requesting direct neural interface." Elena felt her throat tighten. Direct neural interface with alien technology was strictly forbidden under United Earth protocols. Too many risks of incompatibility, mental damage, or worse. But as she watched the defense platforms continuing their silent dance through space, she realized they were far beyond standard protocols. Analysis of the neural interface request. The architecture is surprisingly compatible with human neural patterns, Araya reported. In fact, the similarity is statistically improbable. "Commander, I believe this may explain why humanity was chosen." Elena squared her shoulders, decision made. "Initialize interface protocols. If they want to talk, let's hear what they have to say." The connection formed like a sunrise in her mind, alien thoughts and concepts blooming into understanding. The caretakers weren't communicating in words or even images, but in pure conceptual understanding. Through their link, Elena finally grasped the true nature of their mission. The void sector wasn't just a defensive position. It was a quarantine zone. The enemy the precursors had faced still existed, locked away behind barriers of twisted spacetime. The defense platforms weren't weapons. They were the bars of a prison holding back something that could unmake reality itself. "They didn't choose us randomly." Elena spoke aloud, sharing her understanding with her crew. "They chose us because we're different. Human consciousness, our neural patterns, they're quantum entangled in a way no other species has evolved to be. We can interface with their systems because we're naturally attuned to the same frequencies they used to build them." Through the neural link, the caretakers shared more. They had seeded countless worlds with life, guided evolution across the galaxy, but humanity had emerged on Earth with something unique, an ability to perceive and interact with quantum states that should have been impossible for organic beings. The attacks, Elena continued, the pieces falling into place. The hostile ships, they were a test. The caretakers needed to confirm we would use the defense systems responsibly, that we wouldn't become drunk on power. "Commander," Chen interrupted, "the defense platforms are forming a new configuration. They're creating a gateway." Through the observation window, they watched as the massive structures aligned themselves into a precise geometric pattern. Energy began to flow between them, forming what looked like a massive doorway in space itself. The caretaker's message became clear in Elena's mind. This wasn't just an inheritance of power, it was a responsibility. Humanity would become the new guardians, watching over a prison that held back the end of everything. But they weren't just meant to maintain the existing defenses. They were meant to find a permanent solution. They couldn't solve it themselves, Elena explained, her voice filled with wonder. Their logic was too rigid, their minds too structured. They needed a species that could think differently, that could see patterns in chaos and find order in randomness. They needed human creativity. The neural interface flooded her mind with one final burst of information, the nature of what they were guarding against. Elena gasped as the understanding hit her. The enemy wasn't a species or a civilization. It was an idea given form, a cancer in the fabric of reality itself. RIA, full scan of the gateway structure. Alina commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of what she'd learned. "We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with." "Scan complete," Araya reported after a moment. "The gateway appears to be a controlled aperture into." "Commander, the readings suggest it opens into a space between spaces, a void between realities." The caretaker vessel began to move, positioning itself near the gateway. Through their connection, Alina understood their intention. They would show humanity what needed to be guarded, teach them how to maintain the prison. But after that, the caretakers would depart. Their time was ending. Humanity's was just beginning. Alina looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. "Send a message to Earth Command," she ordered. Tell them we're going to need more ships." The gateway pulsed with energy, a window opening onto humanity's greatest challenge. They had been chosen not just for their ability to use the Precursor's technology, but for their potential to surpass it. Now they just had to prove worthy of that trust. Trial by fire. "A bit late for that," Alina muttered, watching through the Hyperion's observation window as the caretaker vessel continued its intricate dance with the defense platforms. In the 12 hours since their revelation, the ancient systems had been integrating themselves more deeply with their ship's quantum networks. "Commander," Araya's holographic form materialized beside her. "Long-range sensors are detecting multiple fleets approaching the sector. Current count stands at 7 distinct species, including representatives from the Galactic Council." Alina felt a headache building behind her neural implants. Of course, news had spread fast. The quantum destruction of the hostile fleet would have been detected by every advanced race in this arm of the galaxy. Now they were all rushing to stake their claims. "Status of the gateway?" she asked, turning to Lieutenant Chen. "Stable but inactive," Chen reported. "The caretakers have shown us how to operate it, but they're insisting that the first activation be done by human consciousness only." The implications weren't lost on Alina. Once they activated that gateway, once they looked through the window into what lay beyond normal space, there would be no going back. Humanity would be irrevocably linked to whatever lay on the other side. "New transmission," Araya announced. "The Galactic Council is demanding immediate access to the sector under Article 7 of the Interstellar Cooperation Treaty." Alina allowed herself a grim smile. Remind them that under Article 12 of the same treaty, any civilization receiving direct technological inheritance from a precursor species has sovereign rights to that technology. Through her neural link, she felt the defense platforms adjusting their positions, responding to her subconscious concerns about the approaching fleets. The technology was incredibly intuitive, almost as if it had been designed specifically for human neural architecture. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL," Chen called out. They're forming a blockade pattern around the sector's edge." The tactical display showed dozens of vessels representing the most powerful species in known space, all positioning themselves to either claim or contain what humanity had inherited. Alina knew they had maybe hours before someone decided to test their defenses. "Commander," Araya's voice carried an unusual note of urgency. "The caretakers are transmitting new data. They're showing us what's about to happen." The neural interface flooded Alina's mind with images of possible futures, probability streams calculated by minds far more advanced than human comprehension. In every scenario where humanity hesitated, where they failed to fully accept their role, catastrophe followed. The prison they were meant to guard would weaken, and what lay beyond would begin to seep through. "How long until Earth's relief fleet arrives?" Alina asked, already knowing the answer wouldn't be soon enough. "Minimum of 48 hours, Commander," Chen responded. Alina watched as more ships arrived, their numbers growing by the minute. Some were diplomatic vessels, others barely disguised warships. All of them wanted what humanity had just inherited, and none of them understood the true responsibility that came with it. The caretaker vessel pulsed with energy, drawing her attention. Through their connection, Alina felt their urgency. The gateway needed to be activated soon, needed to be stabilized by human consciousness, or all the defenses in the universe wouldn't matter. ARIA, open a channel to all vessels in the sector. Elena commanded. Decision made. Full spectrum. All languages. Channel open, Commander. Elena stood, her voice clear and unwavering. This is Commander Elena Reyes of the UES Hyperion. By right of inheritance and Article 12 of the Interstellar Cooperation Treaty, this sector is now under human protection. Any vessel crossing the boundary without explicit permission will be considered hostile and dealt with accordingly. The responses came immediately: demands, threats, offers of cooperation. Elena ignored them all, focusing instead on the neural interface with the defense platforms. Under her guidance, they began to move, forming a new configuration that would demonstrate humanity's control. Multiple vessels advancing, Chen reported. 3 Corthelian warships and a Nexian dreadnought. They're charging weapons. Show them, Elena ordered quietly. The defense platforms responded with terrible elegance. Space itself seemed to fold around the advancing ships, quantum fields manipulating reality in ways that made traditional weapons look primitive. Within seconds, the vessels found themselves gently but firmly deposited several light years from the sector's edge, their engines disabled. Silence fell across all channels. The gateway is destabilizing, Araya reported. The caretakers say we need to make our decision now. Elena felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Humanity had been chosen for this role not because they were the most advanced or the most powerful, but because they could adapt, could think in ways other species couldn't. Now it was time to prove it. All hands, she announced shipwide, prepare for gateway activation. We're about to see what we're really guarding. The defense platforms began to pulse in sync with the Hyperion's quantum cores, their energies intertwining in patterns that defied conventional physics. Through her neural link, Elena felt the gateway responding, felt the barrier between realities growing thin. Multiple ships powering weapons, Chen reported, but her voice seemed distant as Elena focused on the task at hand. The caretaker vessel transmitted one final burst of data, not instructions, but a blessing, a hope that humanity would succeed where they had failed. Then, with a flash of quantum energy, they vanished, leaving humanity alone with their inheritance. Elena reached out through her neural link, embracing the ancient technology that had waited so long for human minds to touch it. The gateway began to open, and with it, humanity's greatest challenge was about to begin. Let's show them why we were chosen, Elena whispered, as the void between realities parted before them. Legacy of stars. The gateway hung before them like a tear in reality, its edges rippling with quantum energies that defied conventional physics. Through her neural link, Elena felt the ancient systems struggling to maintain stability as they opened a window into something that should not exist. ARIA, status report, Elena commanded. Her consciousness split between the ship's systems and the vast network of defense platforms now under their control. Gateway stability at 82% and falling, ARIA reported. The quantum matrices are having difficulty compensating for. Commander, I'm detecting something coming through. It wasn't matter or energy in any conventional sense. Through the gateway came something that made reality itself recoil, mathematical chaos given form, entropy made conscious. Elena understood now why the precursors had failed to find a solution. They had tried to fight chaos with order, to impose rigid structure on something that defied structure itself. Multiple contacts approaching our perimeter, Lieutenant Chen called out. The Galactic Council fleet is moving into attack position. Elena barely heard her. Through the neural interface, she was beginning to understand what the caretakers had meant about human consciousness being different. Where other species saw reality as fixed and absolute, humans had always lived in the space between certainties. Their minds were uniquely suited to embracing paradox. Commander, Aria's voice carried genuine concern. The entity is attempting to establish quantum resonance with our reality. If it succeeds, it won't, Elena interrupted, an idea forming in her mind. Because we're going to think differently about this problem. Aria. Open a channel to the approaching fleets. Channel open. Elena stood, her voice carrying the weight of certainty. This is Commander Rice to all vessels. What you're about to witness is why humanity was chosen for this task. We don't just guard the prison, we're going to fix it. Through her neural link, Elena began redirecting the defense platform's energy. Instead of trying to contain or destroy the chaos emerging from the gateway, she embraced it. The precursors had tried to fight fire with fire. Humanity would try something else. Commander. Chen's voice was tense. What are you doing? Something impossible, Elena replied, a smile touching her lips. HFY. Initiate quantum harmonics across all frequencies. Let's show this thing what human creativity looks like. The defense platforms responded to her commands, their energy patterns shifting from rigid geometry to flowing, organic forms. Where the precursors had tried to impose order on chaos, Elena did the opposite. She created chaos of her own, but chaos with purpose, with human intuition guiding its flow. The entity from beyond the gateway reacted immediately, its mathematical impossibility meeting Elena's orchestrated disorder. Through the neural interface, she felt it trying to unmake reality, to spread entropy across existence itself. But instead of fighting it, she let it come. Gateway stability of 43%. HFY reported. Commander, the quantum harmonics they're creating a new pattern. Elena smiled wider. They're creating art. The defense platform spun an intricate web of quantum energy, not fighting the chaos but dancing with it, turning its attempt to unmake reality into a symphony of creation instead. The entity, faced with something it had never encountered before, human imagination, began to change. The Council fleet is holding position, Chen reported, awe in her voice. They're watching. Through the neural interface, Elena felt the entity's confusion. It had expected resistance, had expected another attempt to impose order. Instead, it found itself being transformed, its mathematical chaos becoming part of a larger pattern, not ordered, but harmonious. We've been thinking about this all wrong, Elena explained, her voice carrying across all channels. You can't fight chaos with order. You can't unmake entropy. But you can give it purpose, give it meaning. You can turn destruction into creation. The defense platforms continued their dance, guided by human consciousness, turning what should have been the end of everything into something new. The entity, for the first time in its existence, found itself becoming part of something rather than unmaking it. Gateway stabilizing, HFY announced. The quantum matrices are. Commander, I don't understand how this is possible. Elena laughed. That's exactly why it's working. We don't try to understand impossibility. We imagine our way through it. The watching fleets witnessed something unprecedented. The defense platforms, guided by human creativity, wove the entity's chaos into the very fabric of the sector's defenses. What had been a prison became a collaboration, entropy transformed into energy, destruction redirected into protection. Send word to Earth Command, Elena ordered. Tell them we're going to need scientists, artists, musicians, anyone who can think differently about reality. This isn't just about guarding against chaos anymore. It's about teaching it to dance. The gateway pulsed one final time and sealed itself, but not as a barrier. Now it was a bridge, connecting ordered space to what lay beyond, maintained by human consciousness that could walk the line between chaos and structure. Multiple incoming transmissions, Chen reported. The Council, they're requesting permission to send observers, to learn. Elena nodded, feeling the transformed entity settling into its new role through her neural link. Humanity hadn't just proven themselves worthy of the Precursor's legacy. They'd surpassed it. Where an ancient civilization had seen only a threat to be contained, humanity had found a partner to be transformed. Let them come, Elena said. Let them see what happens when you approach an impossible problem with human creativity. She paused, watching the defense platforms continue their eternal dance, now moved by both quantum mathematics and human imagination. After all, we're just getting started. The Hyperion hung in space, a testament to humanity's unique place in the cosmos. They hadn't been chosen because they were the most advanced or the most powerful. They'd been chosen because they could see beauty in chaos, find harmony in discord, and imagine solutions where none seemed possible. It was, Elena reflected, a very human way to save reality itself.